Hi everyone, so in this lecture we are going to cover the types of meat packaging. So just a quick review, the purpose of food packaging, like we had mentioned in the last lecture, was to protect and contain the product, to communicate to the consumer as a marketing tool, and to provide consumers with the ease and use of convenience, meaning not having to go out and kill and butcher their own animal. Why is food packaging important? It's important because the appearance of the meat that is being packaged is the greatest influence on the consumer purchase. Food packaging also protects against deteriorative effects, and ideally, if the packaging is done correctly, it should promote or enhance the shelf life. So jumping back really quick to the appearance being the greatest influence on consumer purchase, like me, if I see a nice big red juicy steak that's on the meat, in the meat counter, that's going to be something that I'm going to go for compared to something that doesn't look as good. I don't know, one that has that type of tinge or color to it or something like that. So customers are drawn to things that look good. So types of packaging materials. This can include aluminum foil, foam trays, freezer paper, saran wrap, vacuum bags, and cans. Some of the characteristics of these packaging materials include the materials to be flexible, have a mechanical strength, lightweight, odorless, hygienic, easy recycling, resistance to hot and cold temperatures, resistance to oil and fats, good barrier properties against any type of gases, sealing capability, and that they are low cost. So to jump right in, aluminum foil, it provides a complete barrier to light, oxygen, moisture, and bacteria. It first appeared in the meat packaging industry in 1948. It provides a protective vapor barrier, and it's dual ovenable, meaning, you can buy it from the store in aluminum foil and pop it right in your oven if you really wanted to. A negative of using aluminum foil is that the consumer generally wouldn't be able to see what they are buying. I haven't personally seen this in the store myself of just in aluminum foil, but maybe this happens in other stores, or, maybe you see it in the meat counter and this is a way that the butcher gives it to you, but I personally haven't seen meat packaged solely in this way. So moving on to foam trays. Foam trays are very low cost and they are impermeable to moisture. This impermeability to moisture delays spoilage and bacterial growth. These trays are also very flexible. They provide superior cushioning, and they also have insulation properties that safeguard the products from freezer burn. Like I mentioned, they're impermeable to oxygen, which prevents any type of spoilage that you might see. The advantage of these foam trays, besides obviously being impermeable to moisture, is that it increases the markability of the product because the consumer is able to see it. But a possible disadvantage could be that they're leaky, messy, and they have a shorter shelf life. If somehow the saran wrap got punctured, you can expose it to oxygen, which would then, you'd have some type of bacterial growth and lipid and pigment oxidation. I know that's happened to me before, where I come home and, I see a hole in the bag or a hole in the saran wrap that I might have noticed, or I've gotten the habit of actually double wrapping. Lots of times at least at the grocery stores here, the butcher has extra little baggies that if you buy meat that's already, not directly from the butcher, but like in the side display, there's little plastic bags that you could also always double bag your meat in, which is something I tend to do. So that is one negative of using foam trays. So freezer paper doesn't necessarily have to be camo, but I just like the picture of this shiny barrier that I'll talk about. So freezer paper is coated on one side with a moisture-resistant barrier. It seals in the meat's natural moisture while sealing out air. It's coated on one side with a moisture-resistant barrier, and the thickness and consistency of the paper makes it natural for creating a form-fit bond that will remove all the air from the package. One negative of this is that if it's pre-packaged this way, the consumer can't see what they're actually getting. But like I mentioned with aluminum foil, lots of times when I'll pick my meat out in the counter and then they wrap it in this type of paper, but I've never just picked out meat in paper like this, at least at the grocery stores in Champaign, Illinois. Moving on to Saran Wrap. It provides flexibility at very low temperatures and has a strong tear resistance. So this is kind of like a foam tray, but obviously the foam tray is not on it. This kind of helps with storage, and putting stuff in your freezer. You're allowed to shove more stuff in there as long as it's wrapped properly. Like I mentioned, Saran Wrap has a strong tear resistance, which is beneficial for any type of air or cut getting into your packaging. It's very cost effective, and it also has good clarity. So once again, the benefit of what the consumer sees is being able to see what the product looks like. All right. Oops. Moving on to vacuum bags. I attached a picture here of a vacuum sealer that's actually on sale at Home Depot right now for $61.33 if you're interested in that. But vacuum sealing deprives the meat of oxygen and prevents the growth of bacteria and mold. So vacuum sealing has a lot of benefits. So it can save you time in the long run because you're able to go to the store and buy a lot of meat at one time and not run the risk of it, going bad quickly. It decreases freezer burn if it's done correctly. It can help you save money in the long run. You can buy more meat and you could buy it in bulk. You can buy it when it's on sale. You could pre-portion things and vacuum seal it so you have a bunch of meals that are readily available to you. It helps to preserve and protect your food. So it helps preserve fresh meat up to 6 months is what is recommended. It protects the food from dehydration and freezer burn, like I just mentioned. And it just helps your food last longer overall. But the negative of vacuum bags is not a lot of people want to buy the bag or like the system and the bags. Storing it in your house, using it properly. A lot of negatives can be with actually buying the sealer. But in the long run, if you live somewhere where you don't live very close to a grocery store, or a lot of my friends who are hunters have these, it could be very beneficial if you know how to use it. So moving on to already frozen or canned meat. Frozen meat is flash frozen, often to preserve the nutrients, but a lot of it is just ease or customer ease, as well as canned meat. A lot of ease for the customer. You don't have to worry about going out to the store and buying it, making sure it's fresh like that. It's just already preserved in a can. All you have to do is take it out of the can and cook it however you want to. And like I said, it helps with the ease for the customer. It's usually cheaper. And I just added these two pictures because whenever I think of canned meat, I always think of Spam. I've never had it before, so I don't know what it tastes like, but I often in my undergraduate years bought things like this, beef and chicken that's already pre-cooked, so all I had to do was warm it up in a pan just because I didn't have the time or a car to go to the grocery store all the time and to buy fresh meat to cook for lunch or dinner for just myself. So moving on to modified atmosphere packaging. So MAP stands for the removal or replacement of the atmosphere surrounding the product, in this case meat. before sealing in vapor barrier materials. So some examples of this would be vacuum sealing, and vacuum sealing is actually a low oxygen MAP. Here's a quick little comparison between high and low oxygen. To start off, high oxygen MAP, it's usually about 80% O2 and 20% CO2. This exposes the meat to a high atmosphere, and it increases the presence of oxymyoglobin. It actually decreases the shelf life because it increases bacterial growth and lipid and pigment oxidation. This increased oxidation can often decrease the flavor, increase any type of odors or discoloration. And then moving on to low oxygen MAP. An example of this would be the vacuum sealing, which we had talked about. So the shelf life is much longer. It also has decreased microbial growth, decreased lipid and pigment oxidation, and promotes shelf life. Moving on to labeling requirements. So the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, so at the star are all retail or poultry products must contain these 5 features, and the other 4 features can be required depending on what type of product it is, where in the United States you are, packaging the product. It just doesn't. It just depends. So the extra 4 or 3 that I listed may not always be required on labels. So in the principal display panel, you must have the product name. Lots of times there's a handling statement, which is right here. The inspection legend should be here. Net weight, name and place of business, ingredient statement would be right there. Nutrition labeling, it doesn't say it on this one, so it wasn't required by this store. And then the safe handling instructions, which it has right here as well. And here I just added some storage times for refrigeration or freezing, so you don't have to worry about salads and soups and stews. But here's just the recommended refrigerator and freezer storage times. I found it quite interesting that, I found it quite interesting that a whole chicken can be frozen for a year. I'm sure if it's packaged well, why not? But that's a long time, in my opinion, to keep a whole chicken in your freezer. If you have that storage space, all power to you, but my storage does not, or my freezer does not have that much amount of space. But I just thought these leftovers was pretty beneficial, just because, when I think about leftovers, I think about, okay, when I was eating at this restaurant and I got a steak, how long, was this the first day that the steak was cut? Was it the second or third day that the steak was cut and, kept in the freezer? I understand that it's cooked, but can it always stay good for the same amount of time? So I just wanted to include this for your information. And that's it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me, and I look forward to everyone's response and my discussion question.